When you have an idea to share, think about what it would take for your audience to make it their own idea, perhaps an even better idea than you originally started with. A great approach is this two-part formula. Briefly touch on the framework of your idea, and then use a story or exercise that allows your audience to make it their own connections between the idea and their specific situation. To them, it becomes my idea or even my better idea. It's sort of like creating a mold and then adding the concrete filling to that mold. Clayton Christensen, a Harvard Business School professor and expert on innovation, tells the story of presenting his model of disruptive innovation to the leadership at Intel. They asked him to explain how it applied to their computer chip business. But instead of doing that, he briefly outlined the model, and then he told a story of how Nucor Steel applied it to their steel business. When he did, Intel's CEO Andy Grove said, "Oh, okay, I get it. What it means for Intel is," and then he went on to articulate what became Intel's strategy for the Celeron processor. Now, is this a story of tricking someone into thinking it was their idea? No. As Christensen said, they answered their own question more insightfully than I could have, because although he had a great framework, they had all the detailed knowledge about their business that would turn it into a brilliant strategy. Here's another story. When my son was assigned to make a 30-minute presentation in his philosophy class, he was asked to choose one of several controversial topics, and he chose the topic, "If God is good, why is there suffering in the world?" It's a pretty complex topic. Most people would have presented a series of bullet points on various arguments. But as you can imagine, JJ was nervous because many of his classmates who made up the audience probably had life experiences that made them resistant to the idea that a truly good God exists. So JJ took a completely different approach. He explained his position that a truly good God, by definition, must allow suffering to exist. And then he broke his classmates into teams and asked them to illustrate on a whiteboard certain scenarios, such as what life would be like for any child whose parents prevent any discomfort. This experience caused them to think through some of the logical arguments much more effectively than a lecture would have. Then he related a story from the Disney Pixar movie WALL-E, where characters on the spaceship have everything they want, but they become weak and unhappy. This let the students see how the principles applied to people in a different situation, while giving them freedom to process through their own situation. Now, based on a survey he conducted, JJ discovered that at the end of his presentation, a significant percentage of his classmates switched to the position that a truly good God exists. It became their own idea. And it was probably a more powerful idea because their own life experiences now supported the position rather than arguing against it. So, rather than hoping your facts or logic will sway people, when you have an important idea to share, use this mold and filling formula to help other people make it their own better idea.